Hey there, and welcome. We all know that in today's world, change is pretty much the only thing you can count on. So, how do you make sure your organization is ready for whatever's next? Well, today we're diving into a playbook for the future, one that's designed to help you turn all that uncertainty into a real advantage. Let's get into it. So, let's start with the big question. Is your organization truly built to last? It's what keeps leaders up at night. With new tech and shifting markets, the ground feels like it's always moving under our feet. And that feeling of uncertainty, it's a huge sign that the old ways of doing things just aren't cutting it anymore. We need a totally new game plan. So here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through 5 key strategies that, together, make up a super powerful toolkit for the future. We'll cover everything from leadership and AI to how we manage our people and build technology. Each one is a piece of the puzzle. Okay, first up, leadership. We often think that amazing breakthrough ideas fail because the technology wasn't quite there yet. But honestly, more often than not, the problem isn't a technology gap, it's a leadership gap. And this image, well, it says it all, doesn't it? You can have the most brilliant, game-changing idea, but if it's stuck inside one team or one department, it's not going anywhere. Without the right kind of leader to champion it across the entire organization, it just withers on the vine. So what's the fix? We need a new kind of leader, what we're calling a bridger. Now, this isn't your typical top-down manager. A bridger is a master connector. There's someone who can effortlessly navigate between different teams, different priorities, and build the trust you need to turn a small-scale idea into a company-wide powerhouse. And how do they pull this off? It comes down to 2 crucial, very human skills. First, emotional intelligence, which helps them handle all the inevitable friction and conflict. And second, contextual intelligence, which lets them really understand what makes each person tick, their motivations, their fears. At the end of the day, people don't go out on a limb for people they don't trust. Building that trust, that's the bridger's superpower. Now for our second key, which flows right from that idea of human connection, humanizing AI integration. Look, the whole conversation around generative AI is usually about the tech and the efficiency gains, right? But the real challenge, the thing that will make or break its success, is managing the human side of it. This quote really gets to the heart of it. When AI starts doing things we thought only humans could do, creative work, interacting with people, it can trigger some really deep-seated anxiety. This isn't just about learning to use a new app. It's a real psychological shakeup that can cause a lot of resistance if you don't handle it with care. So how do you lead people through that kind of disruption? Well, you can't just wing it. You need a plan. And that's exactly where the AWARE framework comes in. It's a simple but incredibly powerful tool to help you tackle the human side of this tech shift head-on. Here's how it breaks down. First, you acknowledge people's fears. Don't dismiss them. Watch how they're actually coping. Align your support to what they really need. Redesign their jobs so that humans and AI are working together, not against each other. And finally, empower your team with total transparency. If you follow these steps, AI stops being this big, scary threat and starts becoming a trusted co-pilot. All right, our third key is one that might seem a little backwards at first. With AI automating so many routine tasks, the obvious move seems to be to just get rid of those junior roles. But actually, the smartest thing you can do is to elevate them. I mean, think about it. Those entry-level jobs, that's the training ground for your future leaders. It's where they learn the ropes, develop sound judgment, and build that grit they'll need later on. Sure, automating that whole pipeline might save a few bucks in the short term, but you're sacrificing the long-term health of your entire organization. So, the solution is to totally redesign these jobs. Instead of having junior employees do the boring, repetitive tasks that AI can now nail, have them manage the AI. Ask them to critique its logic, find its flaws, even red team its outputs to see where it breaks. This completely transforms their job from just doing tasks to high-value analysis and critical thinking. Okay, on to key number 4. And this one requires a really fundamental shift in how we think, especially when it comes to technology and IT. It's time to stop thinking in terms of temporary, one-off projects and start building long-term, evolving products. And here's why that shift is so desperately needed. The traditional way we do IT, assemble a temporary team, build something, and then break the team apart. How well does that really work? Well, the data shows that only about 31% of these projects actually succeed. A 31% success rate. The model is just plain broken. You can see the difference pretty clearly here. A project mindset is all about avoiding scope creep and just hitting short-term milestones. But a product mindset, it embraces change as discovery. It's completely obsessed with solving real customer problems and delivering real long-term value with a dedicated team that owns and improves the solution over its entire life. It's a total game changer. And that leads us to our fifth and final key: using data to solve one of the most stubborn and expensive problems out there, high employee turnover, especially in service jobs. So often, we see managers relying on gut feelings or old rules of thumb for stuff like employee scheduling. But here's the thing: our intuition is often flat out wrong. The real answers, the actual reasons people are leaving, are hiding in the data we already have. So here's a playbook for how to do it right. First, you use your data to figure out what really drives turnover in a specific location. Is it getting schedules late? Not enough rest between shifts? Then you tailor the schedules for that location, give local managers the data to make smart choices, and create feedback loops so you're always getting better. And that's really the bottom line here. The best solutions aren't some one-size-fits-all policy from the top. They're local, they're tested, and they're improved using real evidence. It's all about building a system that works for the business and is fair to your people. So there you have it. That's our playbook. 5 interconnected keys to building a future-proof organization. You've got to cultivate those bridger leaders, humanize AI with the AWARE framework, rethink your entry-level jobs, adopt that product over project mindset, and let data, not just intuition, guide how you manage your people. Each one of these keys unlocks a different door to a more resilient and adaptive future. So the only question left for you is, which one are you going to turn first? Thanks so much for joining us.